Okay, so everyone can see my screen? Okay. So Amara?
I'm gonna take away. So just going over the agenda today, we're gonna talk about a couple things. First is setting up your registration area, what it kind of looks like, and how you're gonna have everyone placed. And this is going to be very based on your event size. And we're going to talk about the registration volunteer duties. Those are the people that are going to be taking the money, welcoming everyone, and doing the info checking. And then the registration captain duties. So this is obviously based on the size of your event, something to consider how you want to lay out your registration table. Our registration area. So a couple things that you're going to need to have is your chairs, your tables, welcome greeters, signage, separate lines, again, depending on the size and knowing your crowd. Are you going to get a lot of offline money, do you think? How many attendees do you think will be there? And you'll have your tables separated with volunteers in pairs. And you want to have at least one or two runners who are going to be behind the scenes, behind the desk. So you'll see here the first area you have is your volunteer pairs at a registration table. That is the first people that your participants are going to see, and they're going to hand in their money, their pledge form, receive whatever prizing is eligible. And your runners are going to be the ones bringing the prizing to those desks, and the registration volunteers at that desk will be the ones taking that money. And you also see you want to make sure your volunteers have water. So make sure you have water, make sure you're offering bio breaks, and you're also welcoming and thanking everyone for coming to the event. This is a little bit more in-depth detail of what it's going to look like. So you have a couple different areas here. You have the working in pair volunteers, where they're going to be where they're going to have a list of their participants and they're taking the money, and you have a banker box there. That is where you'll be putting the form with the money and the pledge form. And you'll see that you're going to need some office supplies. We'll get into some of those details, what you'll need. And at the back there, you'll see the prizing. That's where you'll have the TBE gifts, the t-shirts, and the team captain gifts, and having a runner who will then take those gifts and bring them to the front with the volunteers working in pairs. And the back area will be your second count area, and that is where the registration captain, and preferably having a co-pilot with them, will be reviewing the money, securing it, and cross-checking and adding it to the tally form. A suggestion for your layout is having a TPE or top pledge earner registration tent. This will kind of help streamline how many people are there, kind of lighten the load and less crowding. So as people attend, they might not know which line to go to. It's best to have greeters who will say, oh, are you there's a top pledge earner tent if you'd like to move over there, and you can kind of direct them there. As well, if you choose to have a separate line for people who are handling offline money or handing in offline money versus people who only raise money online, this might speed the process up as well. So you'll be receiving 2 registration packages. The first one will include the RBC deposit bags and slips and the peer later bags, and the participant offline donation verification form. That will be the envelope with a form printed on it. So you'll have the participant name, and you'll have the amount of money that they're handing in. And we'll get into those details later. And you'll have an important reminder one-pager, as well as the instructions if you're a registration captain and a registration volunteer. You'll also have those instructions. So I'd recommend having those at each pair. So if you forget something, you have those reminders there. And the important reminder is good for participants. So if you have that facing out on the tables, as they're coming up, they might answer some of the questions that they have. You will also have the event day tally and event day incentive form. We'll get into those as well. And you'll also have the tattoos, masks, Go Here postcards, and HelloFresh coupons. So a reminder that anyone that comes up, participant, you're giving them a tattoo as well as the coupon. And the second shipment you'll have is the t-shirts, the TPE gifts, the team captain gifts, the volunteer pennies, the lanyards, name tags, and the tag holders. And a reminder that the tracking numbers will be sent to your staff partners, so they will follow up and give that information to you so you can track that shipment and make sure that it's received. So these are some of the items that you will need to have at the tables. These are the office supplies: pens, pencils, highlighters, scrap paper, calculators, anything you think you might need to have at your registration desk to keep organized. Even having hand sanitizer is recommended, having coin rollers, elastics, tape, scissors, paper clips, and a reminder that you're able to expense all of these. So please keep your receipts, take pictures of your receipts, and you're able to expense this. So we don't want that to be a cover cost for you. And if you have any questions about how to submit expense forms, please reach out to your staff partner or reach out to the Gutsy Walk team, and we will help you with that. So this is the registration process at large. So from the second the participant enters the event, they're going to be greeted by your greeters. They can be in line, having them with a clipboard, with a pledge form. So to speed the process up, you can have them filling out that information before they even get to the registration volunteers. Once they get there, you'll be welcomed. They'll be welcomed. You will check their info and count the money. That money then goes, and that money in that pledge form then goes to the registration captain and the counting team, which is the table at the back, and it's always secure, so you should always have someone watching that area. And that money then goes to be deposited to RBC. And you'll want to have, as I said, you'll want to have a co-pilot with your registration captain. It's recommended. It'll just help things go a little bit easier, and if someone needs a bio break, you'll have someone to be securely watching that money. And the last step in the money process is the night deposit banking. So prior to the walk, we will be sending, we'll have the registration captains pick up the bank deposit key from RBC, and we'll have each staff partner will have that detailed information of the RBC location and the branch details that they'll provide you with. The captain will also be preparing and depositing the money. It's very, very important that there's always 2 people in the reg tent at all times to watch the money, so do not leave the money unattended. And we will also be sending you a copy of the RBC letter. That is the letter that you will then take to RBC when picking up the deposit key. And I would also recommend bringing a deposit slip just in case when you go to the branch to pick up the key. So now I'll talk a little bit about the registration process for the registration volunteers. These again are the people working in pairs, sitting at the desk. As soon as the participant comes in, you want to welcome them, and you'll be working in pairs. So you'll have an info checker and a money checker, and I'll kind of explain the difference between the two and how you'll be working together. So like I said, you really want to welcome them, make sure they're excited. The first people they're going to see when you walk into the event. And if you have a TPE tent, you want to have a greeter to direct them there. And again, if you have a separate line for offline money, online money, direct them to those appropriate lines. And for people who don't submit offline money, if they've already received their t-shirt and they are not eligible for a TPE gift or a team captain gift, and they filled out that check-in form, there is no need for them to go through the registration process. So this is a little screen grab of the form or the report that we will be sending you. So we pull these reports for, I think it's the day before Gutsy Walk, the Saturday evening, and we'll send that to you. So you'll have a list of everyone who's registered and attending your walk. It'll have the walk location, your user ID, the participant name and participant first and last name, and you'll have how much they've raised online, as well as how much they've raised offline. You will also have a couple other columns here that'll be helpful when you're handing out the swag and determining if they've already received it, if they haven't, what's their size, and if you don't have any more of the t-shirts, do they need to be on the not to receive or the received incentive form. And when you're here, you also have copies of the pledge form. So you'll have those at the table. Some people will be handing in their pledge form if they have money. Others might not have one. and you're going to have to ask them to fill that out. So a reminder to tell them that, you know, be patient and that you're working diligently to speed the process up and have them fill it out. And you want to make sure that when someone does hand in the pledge form that it's filled out properly. So you want to have their first name, you want to have their address, whether they're a part of a team, and the walk location. And as you can see here, this is a photo of this year's pledge form. And if they're not handling any offline money, there is no need for them to fill out this pledge form. On the second page of the pledge form, that is where you'll have the donor information. So this is where they'll have all the information that we need to appropriately issue the tax receipt. So it's really important that we have their name and their address if they want our tax receipt. You'll see 3 different methods of payment here. You have cash, check, or credit card. So you want to have them tick that off. If it happens to be a credit card and it's something we need to process, please highlight the credit card number with a highlighter, just so we don't miss it and we process that back at the office. Any unpaid pledges as well, we encourage you to ask the participants if they'd like to pay it off with money, and if yes, please record on the pledge form that if the participant has not paid and if they would like to pay. So at the bottom of the first page of the pledge form, this is where you'll have a total and you'll have an area for the participant to sign the waiver. So if they've already registered online, that means they would have signed the waiver. So when you do the online process, you automatically have to sign the waiver. So if they've already registered online, there's no need for them to select that. However, if they are registering by handing in the pledge form, you need to make sure that they do fill that out and have that signature at the bottom. Here you'll also have, if there are any unpaid pledges by credit card, if they do agree, yes, I want to pay it off, then they can enter their credit card information there. And again, please highlight that in yellow so we also don't miss that. Here is our pricing for this year. So a reminder that if participants have raised $100, they will receive a t-shirt. And if they have raised the $100 prior to May 21st, they would have received the t-shirt in the mail. So we will have a select amount of t-shirts on event day. And it is a first come, first serve if they haven't received it and they would like their t-shirt. And if anyone didn't receive their t-shirt on event day, we have a process and system for that. And if they have raised the $1,000, they are a top pledge earner. So you will be handing them the sunglasses in the sunglass case. And as you go through this, make sure to tick it off on that participant report, just so for your own knowledge, you can check, yes, they received it. And as well, we also have a team captain gift for any team captain in a team with a minimum of 2 members. This includes the team captain as well, and they've raised a minimum of $200 collectively. And this is the beautiful keychain that we have this year. And as well, every participant gets a tattoo and their coupons. And again, I think I just mentioned this to tick it off in the report if they have received the item, and if they haven't received the item, they then go on to the incentive receive form. So this is the form that you're going to want to fill out if you have any participants who have raised the $100 and they didn't receive their t-shirt, or even if you run out of any of the other items. This is where you'll have their name. You'll have their address, just in case it's different that they registered. They can put the address that they would like that shipped to, and you put their t-shirt size and the amount raised so we can confirm that, and which item we'd like them to send. Once this comes back to the office, we go through that and then we ensure that we mail this to everyone. So you can reassure anyone who hasn't received it that they will receive it after the walk. And this is the form that is printed on the envelope I mentioned. This is the envelope where you'll be putting the money for each participant that they're bringing as offline money. So once they come, you want to have the money checker count the money, and they're going to be the ones writing this information. So you want to have the participant's name, their team name, and you have a check here. You can see how much cash it is. And I know it's probably a little zoomed in here, but once you see it in person, you can check off the number of bills, the credit card total, the check total, and then a total offline that they're handing in case they're handing in a mix of different kind of offline money. you want to ensure that the participant initials on the form as well as yourself. So in that pair, you want to have that money checker checking off on the form as well as the participant. This form then will go into the banker box that is stationed at each pair. From here, you're going to have the runners going back and forth and taking the pledge forms inside of the box to the registration captain. From there, they're going to be the ones verifying the information, checking it over, and not sealing the envelopes. Please make sure you don't seal them so that the registration captain can open them and check the money. And from here, it's recommended that the runner is consistently going back and forth, just making sure that there's not a buildup of offline pledges and that the registration captain can keep up and has time to go through that money and verify it. And as well, another reminder, do not keep any of the boxes or money unattended.
Thank you, Amara. Before we move to registration captain duties, does anyone have any questions about the registration volunteer duties or setup? Okay. So as a registration captain, you will be the leader and you'll be the main contact for troubleshooting at the registration table. You are responsible for preparing the monies for deposit. You are responsible for entering the final dollar numbers and counting inventory to the tally summaries. And please do not leave the money unattended at any time. And again, it's recommended to have a co-pilot. And also you need to be available for registration volunteers in case they have any questions. So once the registration closes, you can collect the participant report lists. Like these are the lists where you can see the online donations, like Amara just talked about. You can collect all these participant report lists from the registration volunteers. Then you also collect the bankers boxes, which contains the envelopes with the pledge forms and the money submitted from people. And if there is any other documents with the participant information or any confidential information, please don't leave it like with the registration volunteers and just collect them. You can then send everything back to us and then we will shred it if necessary. But we shouldn't leave any confidential information of the participants like on the tables, like at the registration table or anything. When you start checking the envelopes, you are going to remove the cash and check from the participants' offline donation verification envelopes. You will then verify the amounts. You need to separate the money by denomination, so then you can just verify what is entered on the envelope is correct. You then count the money, and then if the money you count is matching with what is entered on the envelope, you will just need to initial the form. You don't need to check the information on the pledge form because this is already checked by the info checker. So your part in this is like verifying the cash amount and then the information on the envelope. And you are keeping the money separate. You don't put it back inside the envelope because you will then put everything inside the RBC deposit bag. So this is the event day tally. If you are familiar with our registration process from before, this is one form that we change. Also, the previous one I showed, like the previous ones, Amara showed the verification envelope, like the information here, and also event day incentive form. Those are the ones that we updated this year. We put some descriptions to make it easier for registration volunteers when they are like actually entering the information, then they know the details of what they need to enter. So this is something we change, and this is like we used to have participant tally where you would enter each participant name who submitted offline donation. And then we had another form where you would enter the like the total amounts raised. And as well as the inventory. So we just combined those two reports, and now it's called Gutsy Event Day Tally. The physical copy will be inside your registration package, but we will also have the digital copy available in the volunteer hub. So what you need to do is, like, once you check every time you check the envelope, you just write down the participant name and you write the amount that they submitted. Like if it's cash, you write the cash amount. If it's check, you write the check. Please make sure the credit card means it's not online. If they only write credit card on the pledge form. So if the credit card is written on the pledge form, then the verification envelope should also have that credit card amount, and you can also write it here. You will then start calculating the offline total that's submitted on the event day. Once the monies are verified and you separate the cash, coins, and check into groups, you will then start preparing your RBC deposit slip. But before that, you want to tell the MC what the event day total raise is, so they can just announce it in the closing ceremonies. So you enter the offline donation total from the participants' offline donation form here. You write down everything and then get the total amount and write it here. For the online donation total, you can use the number on the participants report, but that's not going to be the accurate amount because that report is pulled on Friday. So I recommend you can go on your mobile to your location page, and on your location page you will see the amount raised, like online amount raised. So you can enter the online amount here. Other dollar raised is like if you have any barbecue or like raffle or any other way, like if you are collecting donations for food, for example, like anyway, if you are collecting money, you can just like write that amount here as well because it's considered separate than the pledge, participant pledge. And for outstanding total, I recommend that you write that only if you are expecting a big amount. Let's say if you are expecting a matching gift from a company like for $5,000 or something, like anything that will actually change your overall total, you may want to indicate that under outstanding total. But if you have like participants who write like $20 on the form and they didn't give the money and then the volunteer forgot to remove that from the pledge form, those are not the ones that you are writing because they shouldn't even be indicated on the pledge form. And then once you calculate the overall total, you can tell that to the MC and it can be announced, and it should be like signed by you and a witness. So once you separate everything, you can start preparing your RBC bank deposit slip. Sorry, this picture actually is an old one, but so it doesn't normally say Visa and checks because this RBC deposit slip is only for cash and check donations that you will be depositing to the bank. So you will just enter them by denomination, the total amount for the cash, and then you will write the number of checks you received and the total amount. So if you have like 20 checks, doesn't matter, you just need to write the total amount for the check. You are not entering the credit card total on this deposit slip because credit cards will be processed by us later. Once we receive everything back, we will see that credit card information on the pledge form and we will process it at the office. So you are only filling this out for cash and check donations. And then you need to include 2 copies of this deposit slip. Like there are in total 3 pages for this deposit slip. You will include 2 copies in the deposit bag, and then 1 copy needs to be sent back to us. So once you complete this form, please send a picture to me by email within 3 to 4 hours post-event, because we need to collect all this information to find out how much money was raised on the event day. So you are going to send this information to your staff member, and please also remember to include me. Like, you will find my email address on this form, so you can just send this information to us. The original copy will be sent to us later, but on Sunday we need to see how much was raised at each location as well. And then, as I mentioned, the initial, like the form we used to have in the past, where you enter the overall totals, there was another section underneath which asks you to put the remaining inventory for the prizes. But then we separated it. So this section is on the back of event day incentive form. Event day incentive form is the one Amara showed, like if someone doesn't receive their prize, then you are filling it out. So the second page of that form will be the final incentive inventory. So you need to enter how many t-shirts you have left, and then the top pledge earner gifts, like the sunglasses with a case and the keychain. So we need to know how many you have left, so we will know in case we need them. We reach out to you, or your staff partner contacts you to arrange shipments to people like who didn't get their prize. Or maybe if they didn't come to the walk because they wanted to attend virtually, in that case, we will need to arrange the shipments to these people. And please don't ship any remaining price back to us when you prepare the return packages. All these like prize items, like swags, you will need to talk to your staff partner to figure out what to do. And for the RBC deposit bag, you will put the cash and the check inside the bag. You will receive this bag in your registration shipment as well. And then 2 copies of the bank slip goes inside, and 1 copy will be sent to us. Please do not throw out the strip. When you close the bag, when you seal it, please don't throw out the strip, because we need to get this back. It has the bank bag number recorded on it. And then you will need to do the deposit on the same day. That's why you need to pick up the key from the RBC before, using the letter that we are sending you in the registration package. Also, we have the digital copy available for you if you would like to go earlier and don't want to wait for the registration packages to arrive. We have the digital copy available in the hub, so you can just like get that printed and go to the bank. But please make sure to, you may try to get the key, but there is a chance they ask you for a deposit slip. That's why we say like you may want to bring a deposit slip with you. For that, you have to wait the registration package. But normally they don't ask for it. It's just some branches, I think, do that. And then you will use the key to open the deposit box, and you can just drop the bag in there. You will need to return the key the next day. Please don't try to drop it in the box or anything. You need to return it to the teller later. And make sure that you are with someone else when you carry the money and go to the bank to deposit it. So now we are moving to the process for post-walk. Like we will talk about the items that will need to be sent back to Toronto office, and what to do if you receive money after you prepare your deposit bag and you seal it. So we will talk about what to do about that, and also the Form A's, like the document that needs to be sent to finance. So within 48 hours post-event, we will need you to send the following items to the Toronto office. The participants' envelopes with the pledge forms, or any like donation history page, or any confidential document that they provided. Event day teleform, event day incentive form, the participants' online reports, the copy of the bank deposit slip that's stripped from the deposit bag, and any unused RBC deposit slips. Sorry, my dog is bugging me here. I'm trying to also make her stop. We say within 48 hours post-event. I know sometimes you get busy, you may not have time, but it's very important for us to receive these packages back as soon as possible, because that's how we start entering the information to the system. And sooner we have this information, sooner all the donors will get their tax receipts, and we will have all the reports ready. If for any reason you won't be able to send this within the same week, please let us know so we know that it's coming later. Also, please send us the tracking number by email at gutsywalk@crohnsandcolitis.ca. We are sending you this waybill as well as the bag, so you just need to drop off the bag at your local depot with the slip. So in terms of the documents that our finance department will need, every time a deposit happens to RBC, like to our bank account, it needs to be accompanied with a Form A. Form A is like where you enter the account code and chapter code, so we know that that money is going to your location. It will be coded under your location. We are going to provide you the Form A instructions, step-by-step Form A instructions. Like, again, it will be available in the volunteer hub. For the event day Form A's, it's very simple because you don't need to write everything line by line. All you need to write is the cash total and the check total. You are not writing the credit card amount because we are processing that. So this Form A is only like for the RBC deposit. So whatever amount you have on the deposit slip, it should match with the Form A. You will write the deposit slip number, your name and the date, and just the account code and the chapter code. This account code means it's a participant pledge, so majority of the offline money you receive will be 482. And then you pick your chapter code. If you are not sure about your chapter code, you can just talk to your staff partner. And as I mentioned, you don't need to itemize everything. And if you have any money raised, like through barbecue or any other like donation, you need to use the code 486. This will also be available on the Form A instruction document. So if you receive a donation after you prepare your deposit slip, the process is same as what Amara mentioned. Every offline donation needs to be accompanied with a pledge form. So you need to make sure the person is like submitting the pledge form, and you check the information to make sure like it's all correct and we have the full donor address, because that's the only way we can issue a tax receipt. And then if there's any credit card donation, you need to highlight it. If anything is unpaid or online, you should just cross it off, because the online donations shouldn't be listed on the pledge form. And if anything is unpaid, unless they are willing to provide their credit cards, it should be removed from the pledge form. And again, you do the same thing to fill out the RBC deposit slip. You are getting an extra deposit slip. So if you are using one for the event day deposit, you will have a second one to use for any extra money that you receive. And when you receive a new money, it's separate from the event day. Then the process is a little bit different. For this one, you will need to enter the donor information and the participant information on the pledge form. Sorry, on the Form A. So in this case, you are like putting it itemized, like separately. But we don't expect you to receive like so many more donations after the registration is closed. So it will only be like few probably. And then when you complete the Form A, please send it electronically to our finance department at cronsandcollides.ca, and make sure to copy your staff partner. Our finance department always needs to get a Form A, otherwise that money won't be coded to your location. And again, like if it's other revenue, then you use the code 486. We have other codes as well, but mostly you will be using 482 or 486, like for the event day. So some final reminders. Fundraising will be open until June 30th. Registration will also be open until June 40th. So anyone who wants to register and start fundraising, they still have time until June 30th. And the t-shirts are for participants raising $100 and over, and it's one price per participant. And if you have anyone saying like, we raise money as a family, can we get t-shirts for all of us? These things are exceptions, and you shouldn't just give them the t-shirt because you have limited number of t-shirts. So you can just tell them, can you come back later once the registration closes? If I have any extra, then I can give you. Or you can just put their information. I mean, if they're insisting, you can put their information on the incentive form. So then we will send it later. But t-shirts are for people who actually raise $100 and over individually. So this is only like if someone is like insisting and giving you a hard time, then it's like up to your discretion to decide. But we are not saying no, and you don't need to like fight about it or anything. So you can just say like, I will just put down your information and then they will send it to you from the Toronto office. And the team captains gifts are for team captains who, like, as a team, if they raise like 200 and over, this will be indicated on your form as well, the participants online report. We will indicate if the captain is eligible to receive a prize. And they should have minimum of 2 team members, like that includes themselves. And for outstanding pledges, please do not include it on the pledge form. Same online pledges, please don't include it. For tax receipts, if it's over $15, we are going to issue the tax receipt as long as we have the full donor information. But if it's under 15, please indicate on the pledge form that they require a tax receipt. This is a longer process, so it's going to take a while. We need to close the event, and after that, we will be able to issue the tax receipt for those people. Or if they forget about it, they can always email us at gutsy@cronsandcollides.ca, and we can just make sure to send their tax receipt. And some final reminders again, please predetermine registration volunteers so they can attend training. We recommend that you do a run through with your registration volunteers so they get familiar with the process. We understand that sometimes you may not know until the event day, but try to like talk to your staff partner and try to decide on these people, like who will be doing the registration. And if there is any chance, like your other volunteers may need to help you with registration, I recommend you provide them training as well. And we will provide you the instructions, like both digital and physical copies, so they will have it available like at the registration table. We also recommend that you do a training on the event day, like ask them to arrive like half an hour early, and then you can do a quick training. And if you have any experienced volunteers, we recommend that you pair the inexperienced volunteers with the experienced ones. So like it will be quicker for them to process all the offline donations. And again, like you will be reimbursed for any expense. So if you are spending money on printing or any stationery or anything, make sure to keep your receipt. And we recommend that instead of like printing the documents at home, it's a better idea to go to a printing place so you can get a receipt and get reimbursed for it. And another tip we can give you is that if you notice that like when the lines are getting long at the registration, like if you have so many people waiting at the registration area and it's taking a while, you can have some volunteers walking in the line and ask people like if they brought their pledge form, if they are submitting offline money, and if they actually brought the pledge form, then those volunteers can actually start reviewing the pledge forms to make sure like the information is correct and nothing is missing. Or if they didn't bring a pledge form, then they can just be like, okay, let me just bring you a pledge form, and then they can take from the registration table and give to those people. So then they can start filling out the form, so it can actually help the line goes faster. So are there any questions? No? Okay.
I realized that was a lot of information to take in. But just a reminder to, once you get your registration packs, either mailed directly to you or from your staff partner, all the instructions are in there. So we highly recommend that you open them up before day of, go through, double check you've got all the items you need, and also reread through the instructions to make it a little bit clearer. And then you'll also have the pieces with you so you can check the forms and become familiar with them.
Is it fairly straightforward? I mean, all those slides sounded fairly complicated, but it can't be rocket science.
It's not rocket science. It's pretty straightforward. And I think the team's done a really good job this year of simplifying the process. So it's much easier than it has been.
Okay.
Even things like the form names are easier to follow. And as I said, just do that run through and check through everything when you first get it. And that should hopefully help you out. But
Right.
really what you need to remember is that if someone has done all their fundraising online, that's easy. We push them through. It's the offline things, but we want to make sure that we're counting the money, that we're counting the checks, and if they've got written credit card information, that's being counted as well.
Right.
I
I think there's only 4 of us, and it's the first time I've ever done it. So I hope it'll go smoothly.
Yeah, definitely. And like comparing to previous years, we don't get as many donations as before. I mean, as many offline donations as before, which is good. It means people are using like participant center more to receive online donations. So it's like I don't expect it to be busy, but also like if you remind people to be patient with everyone, and like you don't need to stress out, because like it's better to have 2 people, because I know sometimes when the line gets too long, the info checker and money checker, they start to be like, okay, I will just deal with this person and count the money and check the information, and you do that. But I recommend not doing it and stay calm and just remind people, okay, we are doing our best. And every instruction, like what we changed is like we put the instructions on the forms in front of the registration volunteers as well. And then we have some important reminders in the package that participants can see. So like everything you need, your registration volunteers will need, like all instructions are available. So maybe they can check it before and highlight some important parts that they find important. That would also help. But you will notice when you get the instructions, like it's really easy. It's just like all these forms named differently, and that is a little bit confusing. I am seeing some questions. Oh, Rachel sent this, I think. Yes.
Mara did, yeah. So to answer your question, Leanna, the RBC volunteer, that's really just a part of the registration captain role. So as we mentioned, you will get that letter from us, which you can take to the bank the day before or the night before to pick up that deposit key. And with that key, you'll then be able to deposit the money the next day. So as part of your registration pack, you'll also receive the bag that we talked about and the form. And once you've put all the money in with the deposit slip into the bag, you'll seal it. You'll use the strip that you've taken to seal it to put back in the Pure Leader bag. that you send to us, and then that deposit bag will be deposited into the deposit box at the RBC location that your staff partner has told you about. Night of, and then again, you'll need to return the key the next day. How do you know who your staff partner is? That's a great question, Teresa. So the staff partner is basically what we're saying for the person that you're working with. So I don't know if you said earlier what location you're in. Gravenhurst.
That would be Nicole, I think, Nikki.
Nikki. So you know Nikki Sage, she's been working with you and your team, so she's your staff partner. Basically the person you have your day-to-day contact with at Crohn's and Colitis Canada.
Also, there was a question about Volunteer Hub. Were you given access to Volunteer Hub before? Because it's not a website that you can just
yes, so Stephen definitely has received, hi again Stephen, good to see you. He's definitely received access. Donna made sure of that.
Okay.
But we can make sure that you get your link again.
If anyone has questions, they can come to me and I can help them out with all of the Volunteer Hub stuff, whether it's access, granting access, having trouble finding things, I can help you out.
Thanks, Samara. And we can also, we'll make a note of it now to make sure that you get that link again, Stephen.
And Sophie, I think you have a question?
Hi, yes, I do. I also need access to the Volunteer Hub. I was wondering who I should contact in order to receive it.
Amara,
sure.
Are you writing her name down?
Yeah.
Or?
And
Okay.
can you just remind us where you're what walk you're with, Sophie, so we can also check with your staff partner if in case they've already done it?
Sure, I'm with the York Region chapter.
York Region. Okay, great. So then we'll just chat to Cindy and we'll make sure that you've got access there as well.
Okay,
And
or
Laura,
I can also email Cindy. I wasn't sure if it went out to all volunteers or something and I missed an email, but it would be great to be added.
We need to receive the request from your staff partner. So we are not adding every volunteer because not everyone would need access to these documents. And we have another person, Margaret. You also don't have access. Okay.
and Laura in
Laura.
KW.
Okay. We will take a note of these and check with your staff partners and add you to the hub. And please make sure to check your spam folder as well, because sometimes the invitation email goes to the spam folder.
I as well have a guide how to access the hub. So when I send you, once the staff partners reach out to me, I can send the access link as well as the instructions on how to what to do once you get the link to access it.
Another question in the chat that I think we missed, and I just want to clarify. So Leanna, you asked, do we get a volunteer package as well? Are you referring to a package with all the materials and resources that you need? Because if so, we will actually be sending 2 shipments. One will have all the documents that we just ran through, including things like the Purelator bag and the deposit slips and the deposit bag. And the second package will be the one with all the prizes and incentives and things for volunteers, like your lanyards and your pennies for the volunteers to wear, as well as the t-shirts, the sunglasses and case for the top pledge earner gift, and the keychains for the team captain gifts. Hopefully that answered your question. If you're asking about something else, feel free to unmute or pop it in the chat and we can try and clarify that for you. Does anyone else have any questions or anything they wanted us to clarify at this point in time? Amazing. I'm going to take silence as a good sign.
So thank you so much, everyone, again, and thank you for all you do. Like as a volunteer, we appreciate your support. We wouldn't be able to do this work without you, for sure. So I wish you have an amazing Gutsy Walk day. And if you have any questions and if you need to reach out to us, gutsywalk@crohnsandcolitis.ca. We all receive that email, so you can reach out to us through that. And it's great seeing all of you, and have a great evening.
Thanks so much, everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.